Hello, thanks for being here. This is Tanda Draco Gaming, and I'm going to be casting for you from the TnT Championship 2022 Season 1. This is the Premier Division Group Round. We're going to start today with Group A. Group A has Mishi, Snake, Ben Dove, and Raton. And we're going to start here with match 1 between Mishi and Snake. So the winner of this match goes on to the winner's match, and the loser goes on to the loser's match in this kind of double elimination we've got going on here. All right, here we go. In the bottom, in the blue, we have Mishi, the previous champion. And in the red, in the top right, we have Snake. Snake fought his way into the Premier League through a brief qualifiers. So let's see how he does here against the champion. Now, Mishi is bringing here Squirrel-Toed Mole, which is a lot more aggressive than Snake's pure squirrel. So it looks like Mishi could get some damage done early on. Maybe a squirrel mole push. He's got toads in case of lizards. And I've heard you can actually combine the 3 of these into a pretty decent fighting force. Also could go with a boar timing. A lot of early game and mid game options for Mishi. Snake, on the other hand, pretty light on the early game stuff, just squirrels, and hopefully getting into... Oh, we have some moles here, excuse me. Bit of a mole rush. Doesn't look like it really worked out here. Okay, here we go. Mishi coming in with a couple of moles. Trying to keep Snake off of the 8 farms and maybe snipe a pig here, and it looks like he is going to back up. Wait for that 3rd mole. A squirrel is about to pop for Snake, so I think he's going to hold. Maybe snipe this pig. Nope, the pig survives. So that actually is a good hold from Snake. Unfortunately for Mishi there, that didn't quite work out for him. So Snake actually comes away with a pretty big lead. He's going to get his 8th farm up right away, and he already has 4 squirrels on the move. Now Mishi has a turret down, so he should be able to hold here. Looks like the turret is going to get knocked down. Yep. 1 turret for 1 squirrel is already a good trade for Snake, and he might try to go for a pig here as well. Alright, looks like 3 more squirrels for a pig. So far, I would say Snake is in a pretty good position here. And as I was saying, he has got the deck to go into more of a mid-game here. Looks like he's going to try to push his advantage. I'm not sure about this. Mishi has turrets. He's going to try to fight right now, but I think Mishi's going to hold just fine. Taking back his edge, actually. Snake kind of overextending just a little bit. Again, he's got a bit more of a late-game deck, so it'd be nice to maybe use his advantage to try to tech up and play to the strength of his deck. But it looks like he's really trying to seal the deal here with a push. He's going to shut down this expansion. Mishi taking some really good engagements here, keeping that base alive and able to farm up. So Snake has actually lost some of his advantage from the early game, in my estimation. He's only about the... Well, actually, I would say he doesn't really have much of an edge at all. Mishi here with a couple of turrets and the 12 squirrels. Snake with the 12 squirrels, an extra farm going into cams. So it's pretty even, I'd say. And Mishi is really good at greeding up and trying to get an economic edge. So he's going to sell the turrets here and looks like go into some tech. There we go, some cams. Squirrel cam from both sides. Snake into some more cams. So yeah, it looks like off of the failed mole rush there, Snake had some advantage and he got some value, but it looks like Mishi is basically caught back up. Looks like he's a little bit nervous about a push right now, so he's dropping the turret. He might sell it when Snake leaves. No, okay, he definitely is ready for an attack. He's going to try to farm up and maybe bait an attack. Snake is going to have his more cams coming up. I wouldn't play into the attack, though. Oh, he is. Oh, he's 100%. Okay. Gonna drop the wolf. Interesting. Snake is being a bit hard to predict right now, and I worry that he is not being decisive enough. He's kind of being a bit sneaky, trying to change his game plan a lot. Looks like it was a fake rally there. Having said that, we're equal in squirrel count and equal in cam warrens here. Oh, nice. Okay, so he kills 2 pigs, but he loses a cam. So I think that's still good. That's still value for Snake. Especially since Mishi is going to buy that back. Mishi grabbing this cabin as well, so that's farm 17, if you will. Snake starting the wolf. And Mishi dropping a boar. So Snake has to be careful with these cam shenanigans. So Mishi is 100% ready for this kind of cam play, so I think Snake has to be careful not to lose his cams. Doing little backstabs like this can be a double-edged sword. You can get a lot of value, but you can also lose your cams if you're not careful. And it looks like Mishi might be trying to get aggressive here, put some forward turrets down. Snake going into Snakes. Wolf Snake is definitely a nice combo, although against MGs, it has limited usefulness. But it looks like Mishi's going to set up a bit of a siege here. He's got an MG to fall back to. He snipes a pig. If he can bait a fight, he's 100% safe with this MG here. Snake doesn't have enough of an army lead. Now, with the wolf out, if he can buff his squirrels and come around from another angle, I think he should be able to take a good fight. But Mishi ready, putting down some more MGs to hold while his boar is coming out. Snake adding a lot of tier 2, so right now might not be the best time to attack. He's waiting for snakes and skunks to come out, whereas Mishi getting more cams. This really is going to come down to a lot of micro. If Snake can snake tag properly, if he can tag the boar and get out of dodge, this fight is going to go very well for Snake. But Mishi adding some farms as well as some moles. He's definitely going to go for a nice timing push here. Snake's coming forward, just getting a couple of squirrels tagged. Nothing too big from the snakes there, and the fight comes in. The boar is on top of Snake's cams. The cams go down. In fact, all of Snake's army goes down, and the boar is still going to last, finally getting some tags on the boar, but it's done enough damage already, killing so many farms. The boar bomb going to finish off one more pig and the whole mill, and now Mishi at 13 farms to 1 for Snake, and Snake has to have this counterattack, has to have a counterattack right now. Otherwise, he's out. In fact, he is currently starving, and Mishi with enough squirrel reinforcements should be able to hold here. Now, Skunk Wolf is definitely scary. I mean, Snake has a slightly better army, but with the eco advantage here, Snake is no longer able to replenish his units, whereas Mishi has plenty of farms to replenish, so he could sell the boar. There we go, selling the boar, and he's going to be able to get his army back up. 8 farms to 0. Snake is basically out of it. He's going to have to try to hold and greed back up, drag the game out quite a bit. But Mishi might just go ahead and go for another army trade. When you're that far ahead on eco, just trading your army down is going to be very good for the player who has farms, especially in a situation like this without lizards. I mean, this is not a bad comp from Snake, it's just not enough, considering he has just the 1 farm here. Basically no income. He's going to run in with snakes trying to get some value here. Unfortunately, Mishi's just farming up, though. Like, that snake could get a ton of value and still. Now, going for a base trade here is a pretty good idea, I'd say. He's going to be able to buy a second campfire, and then he could probably run around the map. 4 bases to 4 bases. Since Snake is getting started first, this could actually be a Snake victory. The only units that Snake has that can kill bases are the 6 squirrels, though, so he's going to have to... 5 squirrels now, and he's going to have to keep going. Okay, no. Mishi just has way more DPS here. He's got moles for crit, he's got cams, he's got so many squirrels. He did kill Mishi's main source of income, but here we go. The cams just get on top of Snake's army and are going to clean it up. Wolf goes down, and that's going to be it for Snake. Mishi takes game 1. All right, this is a best of 5. So we're going into game 2 here. Mishi off the back of a fresh win here in the blue in the north. And Snake in the red in the far right. Just down 1 game in this best of 5. Both sides changing up their decks just a little bit. Snake going with some moles as well and getting some ferrets. No longer bothering the wolf. Actually, a totally different deck from Snake here. A little bit more meta of a mid-game, I would say. Squirrel, Cam, Falcon is super meta right now. And moles and mines are all very good. And then some ferrets as well. So a very solid deck from Snake. Mishi over here. Looks like a safety warren of some kind. 5 from safety in case of mole pressure or something like that. Now, he is floating a little... Okay, so he's a little bit late on that 6th farm, but that's fine. I think he just wants to be safe. And Snake is being super, super greedy here. Should be able to take the lead. Anyway, so Mishi's deck here, Squirrel, Skunk, Falcon, which is also a very stable, powerful tier 2, going into some Fox, so other poking up opportunities. Now, Snake here, I'd love to see him drop a mine or 2. This farm is going to get picked off. Oh, it's actually going to get killed. Oh, that's really unfortunate. He sells it for 17 food, so that's 43 food value for Mishi, and then there's another kill. So already, Snake just a tiny bit too greedy with that opening, and Mishi is able to punish a little bit and catch up on his eco. Now, it's still pretty even. I think Mishi has a slightly better position. What is up with Snake? Okay. Mishi has a slightly better position right now. But it's still pretty even, I would say. Now, Snake has no idea what Mishi's up to. He's going to be out of position yet again, and this corner pig is going to get sniped again. And Snake does not actually have a superior squirrel count. He's going to drop a mole warren here. But otherwise, it's actually pretty even. He's going to pick off a warren, maybe? Okay, yeah, 2 warrens do go down, but Snake taps. That was a pretty sloppy opening from Snake there, I think. Unfortunately. And Mishi is going to go up to match point. Let's see if he takes game 3. Now, Snake might be extra intimidated playing against the champion here, Mishi. Snake in the far right, and Mishi on match point in the far left. But I think if Snake can kind of play at his best, because he definitely is not playing at his best, probably because of tilt, if he can kind of pull it together and play a really solid game that we know Snake can play, then I think he could be able to take a map, might be able to take a map here. Now, especially considering Mishi going with the pile style, the full pile style, all 5 structures and lizards. And this style, it's not bad, it's not very flexible, and it's very map dependent, but there's a lot of avenues that it can work with, and the biggest one is the element of surprise. Now, Snake here is mole rushing, and he should be able to get a pig forced sell on 2, which is nice for tempo. Now, sticking around a little bit and really pushing that, keeping Mishi down, is kind of nice. Now, Mishi's with the 5 farm double. I think Snake ought to just sell the mole warren, and, you know, you forced that much tempo, and it means you can pull ahead. But now Mishi is going to actually have some lizards to push those moles back. So maybe time to sell the moles. Of course, Snake doesn't have any army at home, so Mishi's going to eventually be able to clean up these moles, and then he's going to be able to run across the map, and Snake is not going to have anything at home, so I'm a bit worried for Snake here. Some mines going down and a mole warren, and there's the squirrel warren. Okay, so Snake did get up his 8 farms much quicker than Miki. Oh man, I can't talk. Much quicker than Mishi, but Mishi's running across the map with 5 lizards, and Snake is not ready for it yet. A couple of mines go off, and that should... Okay, 1 pig does go down. But I'd say that's still pretty okay for Snake. That was 2 mines and a pig is 100 food in order to kill 5 lizards, which is also 100 food. So it's totally fine. In fact, you can see here Snake is 1 warren ahead. Looks like Mishi's going to go ahead and grab that cabin. Cabin like that is really nice edge in the early game. 9 farms to 8, basically. And he's going to start abusing the lizards a little bit. Oh, he might even grab a second cabin. There we go. Okay, second cabin. Interesting. So he's really getting some eco without having to fully commit to a single expansion here, which might pay off. Is Snake going to try to tech up, or is he going to just go into mass squirrel? Okay, it looks like he's super worried. He's floating a lot of food here. He's super worried about the lizard backstab, but you gotta be spending your money here. Mishi putting mines everywhere on the map so he can have vision, and then he is just going to farm up. So he knows Snake is behind on tempo, is kind of playing a little bit slow, and so Mishi's just going to use that extra time that he has to farm up. If Snake had been massing squirrel warrens right now, he might be able to punish, but I think he's not actually as able to punish as he thinks he is right now, since, again, he wasn't actually spending his food earlier. The lizards are going to more or less evenly trade here. Only a couple of squirrels left. They might be able to kill a pig, but Mishi also has these cabins, don't forget. So not a bad push from Snake, but Mishi still with that expo up, still with a couple of mills. Snake is getting some cams here. But any potential timing that Snake had is slowly shrinking, and it looks like these mines are perfectly set up to catch a Snake who's trying to go for that campfire. So here we go, the cam coming from behind. This should actually be pretty good for the squirrel camp player. So Mishi pulls back. Good call there. He did snipe quite a few squirrels. Let's check the... Yeah, okay, so he lost 1, 2, 3, 4 lizards in exchange for 5 squirrels, so that's pretty good. And now he's going to clean up the squirrel army while the cams are gone. This is the kind of lizard shenanigans that are really good. If the cam squirrel sticks together, they'll beat the lizard army, but if the cams get separated, the lizards can sweep in, clean up a bunch of squirrels while the cams are away, and the mines are really what allowed Mishi to have the intel to pull it off. And it looks like he might be able to do it again here. Snake is desperately trying to kill this mill, but Mishi's going to be able to run in and punish, like right now while the cams are gone. Mine goes off on Mishi's lizards, and the cams are about to come back, but a lot of squirrels have already been cleaned up. Okay, so that was pretty solid for Snake. Mishi pulls back, waiting for reinforcements. He hasn't really used much of the pile style yet. He's just going mine lizard, but it's working, and he's got so much eco lead. 9 to 5 right now. A couple of mines do go off, and one of the cams goes down. Mishi pulling back into his mine cover and pig fire cover, really waiting for a good engagement here. True patience, and the second cam goes down, and now the lizards should be able to easily run over everything Snake has, and with the eco lead, Mishi takes it 3-0. All right, I got the names switched out. We're going into the second match here. Raton versus Ben Dove. This is the second match. Winner goes up against Mishi in the winner's match, and the loser goes up against Snake. Let's get started. So Raton in the red in the top right, and Ben Dove in the yellow in the bottom left. So Raton and Ben Dove, I believe, both fought their way through the qualifiers to get here. Raton running some Squizzard. This is actually a super standard looking deck. Squizzard into Cam Falcon Boar, and then a balloon as well. Never a bad choice. Ben Dove, on the other hand, Squirrel Cam Skunk, Badger Pigeon, Mines. So a lot of stable choices here. The Skunk is a little bit interesting to me. I'm not sure if that's really going to have much use this game, but everything else looking absolutely fantastic. It might come down to a couple of tier 3 timing pushes and how those are handled. On this map, it looks like both sides get a very easy and very comfortable expansion. kind of expanding back this way. Ben is going to go ahead right away off of 8 farms. Raton running back. Is he going to drop some warrens? Okay, those are very aggressively placed warrens. Wow. That's insanely aggressive. It's so aggressive, it's kind of limiting in your choices, because if you get pushed back, you're going to lose the warrens 100%. So I think, let's see. Raton doesn't have any moles that he can pop down either, so... Okay, he is just going to expand forward. All right. So the aggressive warrens with the forward mill, as long as you can hold the mill, actually become relatively defensive comparatively. If he can hold this forward mill, he's going to be in good position. And Ben Dove can't really punish this forward mill at the moment, since he's actually trying to farm up as well. So Raton ahead on warrens, just enough to actually hold. These forward mills are a lot more fragile than they used to be because of this new patch. But this is still a pretty tough situation for Raton. He's going to try to get some Squizzard up, but Ben has got a farm now, and so Raton is going to have to pretty quick add a farm onto his base. Otherwise, Ben is going to slowly pull ahead in eco. So we should see there's one. Yep. Okay. 9 farms to 9 farms, and only tier 1 so far. And especially defensively, Squizzard is definitely favored. The combination of squirrels and lizards is definitely good against pure squirrel, especially defensively, because you can set up a flank to get all of the surface area that you want. Let's see which side is going to be able to pull ahead in eco or tech here. Looks like Ben is going to get some skunks. Now, just 2 skunks against Squizzard, it really depends on the positioning and the terrain. In this kind of choke here, I could see the skunks getting value. Otherwise, I kind of think cams would be better, but let's see how Ben Dove uses them. He is going to get cams as well. And Raton getting that 3rd farm. He's going to scout the tech here, and let's see. Okay, it looks like Raton's actually going to sell a little bit down and get double cam. Squizzard double cam, I definitely favor against Squirrel Skunk single cam. So it looks like Raton also with an extra farm, taking a pretty strong position, but Ben Dove is pushing forward right now, putting some damage onto these lizards. No lizards go down, but this is a pretty precarious position for Raton to be in. Ben Dove is about to have a couple of skunks and a cam, and equal tier 1, whereas Raton's just a tiny bit behind in his tier 2 tempo. Now, it looks like Ben Dove is not looking to be super aggressive. He's dropping the Badger right away. So, as I said, a tier 3 timing push might be in order. What is Raton's response going to be? I don't believe he has not seen the Badger yet. That's a really good hiding place for that Badger. It's going to be hard to get up there and scout. Even the path up is kind of hidden by trees, so it's, Raton might not even realize at a guess that you could even get up there, because the entrance is hidden by trees. So that's actually a really, really interesting hiding spot for Ben. Very nice. Getting some mines forward there to hold a potential push, or to give his Badger some cover when it comes out, or both. So very nice. Raton, again, with just the 1 farm lead, but what is he going to do? Is he going to try to push? Is he going to try to eco, or is he going to get the boar himself? I'd love to see some falcons or the boar for Raton, just continuing to get a little bit more tech. The Falcons would really help against a Badger, just to DPS it down before it gets revved up. But again, he doesn't know the Badger is coming. So it looks like he's scouting around maybe for a ninja. Yeah, Raton's definitely suspicious what's going on. And what are we going to see? He's floating quite a bit, and the Badger's about out, so anything that's going to help in the Badger fight needs to go down right now. What is he doing? Okay, some Falcons and then Assault. Okay, so it looks like Raton's actually a little bit indecisive at the moment. He does finally put down some Falcon Warrens, but right here, right now, Ben is pushing forward. He's got 4 skunks, which are way better than 2 skunks. 4 skunks are going to be able to get so much value in this fight. Pre-gas just softening up all of those squirrels. Raton's cams are coming in. The Badger is out and is going to start chewing up these cams. The cams are gone. And the Badger, with all of its support, pushing through with absolutely no resistance. That mill should go down, and Raton's Falcons never saw the light of day. Everything's supply blocked here. The Badger with a couple of pigeon tags to stay healed up, and he's just going to get right on top of the Warrens. Raton checking his opponent. He sees the Badger hiding spot now. And it looks like Ben Dove is going to be taking game 1. Honestly, I think it really came down to that hidden badger. That was good. All right, going into game 2, Raton versus Ben Dove. Ben Dove is up 1 point right now. He's over here in the far right. And in the top, Raton just down 1. Again, this is the best of 5, so definitely anybody's series still. And it looks like Raton with the same deck, and Ben with a very similar deck. It looks like he swapped the mines for wire and swapped the cam for lizard. So Squizzard from Ben into that same kind of skunk pigeon badger style. Interested to see how he uses the wire here. I kind of think the mines are just kind of a better unit right now than wire. Anything wire does, mines can do just as well, and mines can also do other things. So they do the same job and more. But let's see. Let's see what Ben Dove wants to do. Again, Ben gets a really safe expansion here, so we might see the same kind of 1.5 base timing. Raton, on the other hand, let's see if he can get his boar out, because a boar timing, boar falcon or boar cam, or boar falcon cam, if you can get all 3 units out with a nice 2 base timing, that's incredibly powerful. So we'll have to see how Raton wants to go about it. Now, Ben, with his wire and with his Squizzard and with the map here, is feeling very safe to just expand right away. And Raton looks like he's going to try to play a little more standard, maybe try to punish. I really don't think a punish is in order. On a map like this, if your opponent grabs a first base, probably best to either grab some tech or grab a base yourself, but Raton looks like he's going to go into a lot of lizards, and he should be able to have 3 extra lizards over Ben. But as long as Ben knows what's coming and doesn't grab too many farms, I think he should be able to hold. He might be able to grab 1 farm and a couple of bits of wire and hold defensively here. Raton definitely not going for any specific timing, just trickling in more and more lizards, waiting for Ben to make anything besides squirrels. The minute he sees a farm or 2, I think he's going to go for it. All right, there's the 2 farms, and Raton dropping more and more lizards. And he's going to scout, and this might be the moment that he's been waiting for. Wire is going down as well. Ben knows exactly what's coming. He's going to get hit by a bunch of lizards, and this wire is going to do very well. We just have 12 lizards against 10 squirrels defensively with pigs firing. This is going to be definitely a hold from Ben. Defender's advantage with pigs firing, a little bit of wire tanking, and that was, again, 12 lizards versus 10 squirrels with the 11th squirrel about to pop. So despite having the Warren lead, it didn't mean Raton had much of an army lead, and Ben holds very well there, and is going to be able to pull ahead in economy. All of that comes down to the decision to try to punish that early expansion, which on a map like this with wire in the deck, Ben Dove was absolutely under no threat of a successful attack here. Now, Raton didn't know he was up against wire necessarily, but that was the decision that put us in the game we're in right now, where Ben Dove is feeling safe to put down the badger, and he doesn't even need to hide it this time. He's ahead enough. Yeah, he's actually going to grab another farm as well, and when the badger finishes, he'll probably just throw down some pigeons and go. Raton looks like he's a little bit lost as to what to do. This is, I would say, not the right response. You don't really, when you see a tier 3, you can't just throw down farms. I think you need to be dropping a bunch of tech. A balloon is not bad, but I'd love to see some falcons. 2 cams, 4 falcons, and more squizzer to be definitely in order. Okay, a couple of balloons, so it looks like Raton is definitely going to try to play very defensively here. Now, balloons are not bad against a very early badger push. Partly because the balloons can either target down the badger or they can knock out the pigeons, and without pigeons, the badger's going to die more easily to a lot of tier 1. But it looks like Ben might... Okay. Did he mean to put wire there? In front of the badger warren? That's kind of interesting. Maybe he's just really thinking Raton is going to try to bust that badger warren down with cams or something. There are a lot of balloons here. Okay, so Raton is actually depending on mass balloon to hold him against a push. Now, here's an interesting thought. Ben could actually just take a third base, and he doesn't have to engage the mass balloon. There's 4 of them now. It's going to be 5 and 6 coming up. Maybe some squirrels from Raton would be great. Okay, the boar comes down, and Ben is not going to engage yet. He knows how many balloons he's up against. If he can just keep Raton cornered, he's going to grab this base. Now, there's only 3 bases on each side of the map, and it looks like that's what Ben was looking for. I think he was trying to run through to see. If Raton grabs this base and Ben grabs that one, we're down to a starve game. And honestly, Raton could win a starve game since he grabbed his farms later. Okay, no, he is actually just going to go ahead and kill. Honestly, I think leaving that base alive, here's the thing, is it's hard to know when it's time to go for a starve game, but if Raton had that in mind, he could have just let those farms go up and play very defensively with the mass balloon, and actually he would just guarantee a starve win. But it's really hard to read a game like that. It's the difference between playing for starve and playing regularly is so different, it's really hard to tell. So Ben Dove really not able to push into that. I think you would need a lot more Squizzard to really be able to face these balloons. But yeah, the mental difference between a regular game and a starve game is so radically different. It's hard to know when to make that switch, and I think that could have been definitely a moment. With 7 balloons, there's no way Ben is going to bust into this without a lot of tier 1. And I think Raton doesn't need to. He doesn't need to try to force it. Getting value is nice, especially by killing wire and warrens and units and stuff. But I think he should actually let Ben farm up so that he can win. Oh, that is a lot of wire. You can't get through that. Or you can get around it, but you'll never get out. Okay, so Raton here, it looks like he's going for the mill. He doesn't have enough, though, to go for it, so actually he's just going to lose all his lizards for basically nothing. I don't think he killed anything, which is really unfortunate for Raton there. It looked like he was not sure which target to go for at first. Let's see the vision of these players right now. Okay, so Ben Dove knows about the balloons. He does not know about this base. Raton also does not know about this base. Okay, so this might be part of the reason why he is playing the way he is. He might not know that he actually has access to a third base and is feeling kind of cornered and desperate on 2 bases, which is a little bit unfortunate because I think he would play differently. Now, this is a lot of Falcons, and I like this. He's actually selling down his balloons in order to get his Falcon count up, and with enough Falcons, you can definitely fight what Ben has. The Falcons are unbothered by skunk gas, and the Falcons can actually win against a Badger pretty handily if the Badger doesn't have enough support. Now, Ben is getting 2 Badgers. He's got a superior economy here, and he can definitely afford to get that second Badger up, especially if he sold a little bit of the wire over here, or he can just wait for it. But 2 Badgers would be one answer to the many Falcons. Now, Raton realizes this second base is here now. The balloons are all but gone, though. He's going to have to rely on his Falcon army to stay alive. It might be interesting, now that he knows it's there, just to, like, sell down one of his Falcon Warrens or some of his Lizards to get his balloons back up to full count again. But having said that, 16 Falcons is one of the most terrifying things out there. And Falcon Lizard is a very good combination. Even though Lizards are not particularly tanky, in a fight, they'll get out in front of the Falcons and do a little tanking, and he also has a boar. So boar and 14 Falcons. He is getting more balloons up now. Ben getting an insane number of Badgers. 4 Badgers. I think Raton could just straight up win this. If he just plays defensively, getting his 5 balloons up, there's no way over to this base at all except through this one tiny choke. So if Raton just keeps ballooning up and actually stays intentionally behind on farms, he will 100% win a starve game. Looks like Ben is paid for 3 Badgers. He's about to get the 4th one. I don't even know what to do with 4 Badgers. But I think I'd rather have the 14 Falcons and 5 balloons here. Okay, 12 Falcons and, yeah, more and more balloons. I think Ratan has got this very defensive idea down. And at the moment, with 4 farms left each, I think Raton is ahead on a starve game because these farms are fresher. So Raton is just staying barely ahead on that starve game. And Ben has 3 badgers right now. He's about to pay for a 4th. But he doesn't really have much else. He has a very small amount of squizzard. 4 skunks, which aren't really going to do much. Against a mostly boar, balloon, falcon army, I think the skunks are not really that helpful. Maybe if he didn't have the skunks and only had like 2 or 3 badgers and then more and more lizards. But I guess against a boar of Raton, it's hard to say. Yeah, Ben's in a tough spot here. I would say Raton is in a much more commanding position. He's got 9 balloons now in this choke. As long as he is thinking starve game and doesn't get behind on the farms, Ben doesn't really have any options here. So while we wait to see if either side really commits in, which I think Raton should definitely be staying defensive for sure, but it's hard to say what Ben is going to be up to. I think he's just going to try to go for the biggest push he could possibly muster. While we're waiting here, I just want to say to all of the viewers, thank you for being here. Definitely drop a like if you like this video, or a dislike if you don't. And hit the subscribe button. I'm doing a lot of Tooth and Tail. I have a lot of Tooth and Tail content planned. Okay, it looks like Ben is actually ready to do this. Anyway, I have a lot of Tooth and Tail content planned, and starting here, we've got the premier games from the championship. I'm going to be doing all of them for this channel, so stick around and subscribe, and let me know in the comments if there's something in particular you'd like to see as far as Tooth and Tail content goes. And let's see. Ben looks like he's ready to go for this push. He needs to keep his commander alive. If his commander goes down, that's going to be devastating for this push. And you know what's funny is Raton has enough lizards. He could threaten a base trade. So Ben has to be very careful here. He did sell his wire, and it looks like he is backing down for now. He is going to have to buy that. But one of those 4 remaining starve farms. Is Ben going to commit? I think he has to. I think when he thinks the time is right, he has to go for it. And Raton knows it. He's getting more and more balloons, and this is the only choke. There's a tiny angle right here where Ben could maybe go for a fight, but ooh, his commander down to 2 hit points. He's going to try to go in, throw the lizards in, and here we go. The boar is coming down, the lizard's coming in. The falcon's chewing through everything. The boar bomb is there. Let's see, the falcons are actually moving forward to try to pick off some of these badgers. 1 badger goes down. Okay, only 1 badger goes down. So, as far as surviving army size, I think Raton didn't need to chase so much. Raton had a very, very convincing hold, and then kind of threw away his falcons, and I don't think that was necessary, but it's fine. He still has 12 balloons, and Ben lost all of his army except for 3 badgers, so I think Raton should be able to hold. Again, he's going to mass lizard. I don't blame him at all. He's getting 2 more balloons here. That is the weak angle for sure. Ben is getting ready for another push right before Raton is ready. Let's see, those balloons are kind of unprotected, but it really comes down to the commander surviving. Ben is really trying to inch forward here, but the mass lizard coming out. Not super mass lizard, but just enough. Another badger goes down, and the balloons are untouched. I think that 1 balloon might have gotten killed. It's hard to say whether... I don't remember if that was sold or killed. But, yeah, and Ben is out of income here. He's fully into starve mode, and Raton knows exactly where he's at. Raton has got this. Okay, he's going to grab that 1 farm himself just to stay a little bit ahead. That's all he needs. Raton has got this in the bag. Ben, just with 2 badgers left, he's running so low on Squizzard that he doesn't actually have much DPS left in his army. He would have to get his badgers in there, tank with the skunks, and really get them revved on the balloons. But as it is, Raton has not only a couple of falcons sitting under the balloons, which is really funny looking, but he has so many lizards that even if Ben Dove could break through, which with this many lizards I don't think he possibly could, honestly I think Raton could probably face this army with almost just his Lizard Falcon. But even if Ben-Dov was able to push through, Raton could go for a base trade and 100% win that. I'm amazed. 3 times Ben-Dov has gone into the balloon range and gotten out with only 2 hit points, so he must kind of have it 4 times now. His commander is still alive. 1 hit point. One Badger goes down instantly, and the Lizards come out from Raton. He's going to try to chase this Badger down, get it cornered, and finally the Badger goes down, and that's going to be it. Raton takes game 2. Mass balloon, nice call. Let's go into game 3. Oh, I grabbed the wrong replay, my bad. Let's go into game 3. All right, Raton in the red down here in the bottom of the map, and Ben-Dov in the top right in the yellow. Score is tied 1-1 right now. Ben-Dov taking the first match and Raton taking the second. Now, Raton is sticking with his deck. This is a very strong meta deck. It's got a lot of flexibility to it, so I don't blame him. And Ben-Dov looks like he's going partially back to his initial deck. He's actually dropping the structures altogether. He wants the cams from game 1 and he wants the lizards from game 2. Otherwise, the squirrel, skunk, badger, pigeon style is unchanged. So we're really going to get these 2 decks more or less to clash multiple times. We're going to see a lot of different angles. And let me tell you, both of these decks have a lot of different directions they could go, especially Raton's. We've seen 2 very different game 1 and game 2. And we have yet to actually see a regular board timing. So the quote-unquote standard play from Raton hasn't even happened yet. So it looks like neither side going for an expansion yet. Ben-Dov looks like he's trying to put forward warrens down and take this forward base. Okay, yeah, he goes for it. Slightly more safe. Game 1 and 2, Ben went for a expand first, since he had kind of a backdoor pocket expand. But with this forward expansion, he is going to grab the warren first and go with the 8-farm single warren expand build. And Raton, as he has done game 1 and game 2, he's going to try to punish, and I really don't think this is working. He lost game 1 off that punish and got far enough behind game 2 that he was forced to resort to a starve wall. I really don't think this punishing is working out well for him. Maybe Raton could be taking this back base. Very aggressive style, though. And this is a forward base, so it's going to be a little easier for him to push it down. I'd love to see maybe just a couple of squirrels thrown in. Squirrel Lizard is just so good as a combo, especially for trying to be aggressive in this situation, because the squirrels can sit right outside of range and very slowly put pressure on. And then the minute Ben has to engage, the lizards run in. And even just 3 squirrels can do that kind of pressure. But it looks like, man, these bases are so close to each other, especially considering this is all road tile set. This is going to get very explosive very fast. Ben has gotten farms 9 and 10. Raton also just put down farm 10. Ben is also grabbing some cams, so this might be a moment for Raton. I think he sees the tech, so he's going to run in, force a sell on the extra farm and the warren, and he still is going to be able to clean up. Lizards are just so much better than squirrels in a situation like that. Good micro, and an excellent read on the situation, so he's going to pick off several warrens. He also still has, wow, he's just pushing his advantage here. Lizards are definitely more capable of doing this than squirrels, and Ben-Dov just taps. That was a crushing push. Very well done from Raton, and I take back everything I've said about the aggression. All right, let's go to game 4. Raton in the red, this aggressive lizard play working out very well for him in that last game. Let's see if he tries it again. And Ben-Dov in the yellow in the far right. Now, Ben-Dov's switching it up, going kind of more like a game 1 style, but it looks like he's dropping the skunks altogether, which I support. We've got squirrels, we've got moles, and we've got mines, all of which are going to be a lot better at handling Raton's early lizard aggression. I think Ben is really adapting to Raton's style Mines are going to be able to protect him, and Squirrel Mole is pretty good against Pure Lizard. Very good against Pure Lizard, in fact, depending on the micro and the situation. Still with the Badger Pigeon here as a late game, but also Falcons, and Badger Falcon is a good style as well, especially against Boar Falcon. So I'm liking the adjustments Ben Dove is making to his deck here. Let's see how Raton wants to take it. Honestly, I'd love to see Raton back up, take an expand, and go for a 1.5 base Spore timing or something like that, just to shake it up. But Ben Dove expanding forward yet again. He even has a really nice side expand and a nice third, but he's going to go forward anyway. Maybe he's trying to bait Raton into more aggression like last game, now that he feels like he's ready with moles and mines. That would be not a bad mind game at all. And it looks like Raton, sure enough, he was going a Squirrel Warren, but now he's going to go into the triple lizard. So I think the bait is working, if that's what Ben is shooting for. It's 3 Warrens to 3, and Raton just has a little bit of tempo here. But moles are kind of like the tempo unit, so if Raton goes for a push, Ben has, again, those mines and moles to really try to hold. And I think he's going to do fine. Let's see how Raton did, though. I didn't really believe Raton could do it last game either. Not a dig at Raton's style or abilities, more just the attack didn't look like it could work, and then he really pulled it off. So the Lizard's getting in here, but this time there's some pigs firing. The Warrens are all tanking really well, so I think Ben just holds. Yeah, okay, with all the Warren tanking there, and Raton didn't actually have a Lizard lead that time. It was actually pretty even, and the pigs were actually shooting a little bit, so all of those factors, Ben holds, and Raton is gonna back off and go for this expansion, but he's lost so much edge already. 1, 2, 3, 4. He only killed 4 squirrels in exchange for 8 lizards. It looks like. So Ben is definitely feeling very comfortable here. He's putting down a couple of mines, 3 mines it looks like, enough to really shred an oncoming lizard push. And he's going to sit there with his squirrels. Even if Raton knew about the mines, you can't do anything about it, not with lizards. So Ben is going to feel safe to really farm up here. Such a close expand as well, again with those roads. But this time, Ben has the tools he needs with those mines. He's going to be able to really stay ahead, maybe bait an attack. 4 farms to 2, and Raton is not pulling the trigger yet. I think he knows something is up, but no, here he goes. Coming in here, 3 mines going off. All of those lizards are almost to nothing. This is going to be such a clean hold. You saw not only were 3 at least lizards killed, but every other lizard was basically down to nothing, and Ben Dove is with a killer counterattack here. He's got such a huge squirrel lead. He's got a little bit of an eco lead, throwing some mines down, getting some moles. This is going to be absolutely brutal. Those 3 mines were so clutch for Ben Dove. He was really reading into Raton's style. Raton liking to be aggressive with Pure Lizard, and he countered it hard with that move. The lizards are forced to engage here, but this time there are moles as well as the mines, and that base is about to fall here as well. So Ben Dove is going to tie this up. We're going to go to Game 5. All right, going into Game 5. Raton here in the red, and he is switching up his deck for Game 5, dropping the lizards altogether. And Ben Dove in the yellow here in the left, sticking with the deck that he won with last time. I think he's so ready to play against Raton's aggressive lizard style. Now, not to say this is bad against Raton's current deck, but I was about to say I'm getting worried for Raton. If he sticks with the same style, Ben might just run over him again. But Raton, an absolutely amazing player as well, strong and experienced. He's going to switch it out, going to Squirrel Toad, and then a lot of Tier 2. So he's got plenty of flexible options here. I don't really expect to see the snakes necessarily, unless Ben is going to go for a specific Badger timing. But Squirrel Toad, Cam Falcon can be extremely powerful. In fact, Squirrel Toad versus Squirrel Mole, if both sides micro is excellent, which I definitely trust Raton's to be, then I would favor the squirrel mole in that, or squirrel toad in that situation. Excuse me. The toads just have to be micro to target Ben's squirrels in that case. The mole player wants to tank toad hits with the moles, so the onus falls to the toad player to not let that happen. Now, Ben is expanding forward again. Again, he's got a safer side expand, but I think he's ready and he wants to bait that aggression out of Raton, which is an excellent mine game. He's got the mines ready. He's got the moles, just like last game. But Raton is not going to bite. This time he's going to get early cams out. Now, Raton, if he wants to expand, it's going to be that same super close bases as the last two games. But Raton here is going to go into cams, and it looks like he might be supply blocked for a while. Let's see. No, okay, one does get paid for. Excellent. And Ben saw the opportunity to get some tier 2 of his own, which in this case is Falcons. Now, usually speaking, I would say Falcons are not a great choice as a first tier 2, but that's the only choice he had. And defensively, over mines and near a mill, over pigs, etc., Falcons aren't that bad. It's just if he gets too aggressive with them, they'll die very quickly. And of course, you say cams can't shoot up, right? Cams can't kill Falcons. Well, the point is the cams would kill Ben's ground army, and Raton's squirrels would then be free to rip apart Ben's Falcons. So it depends on the situation for sure, and it looks like Ben might be just trying to play defensively here. He's got some moles as well, which moles would be are a very good tank for Falcons early game. So with a couple of moles, those Falcons just doubled in viability, I would say. And Raton is telegraphing a lot of aggression. He's getting more and more squirrels. No toads yet, which is interesting. With Ben Dove's huge amount of squirrels and the defensive posture he's taking, I think toads would be a good call. You can really blow up warrens pretty quickly that way. But Raton is ready to push right in. He's floating some food probably for reinforcements. So let's see how Ben can hold here. I would have liked to see Raton sit back and kill that mill and force an engage. Raton kind of attacked into Ben Dove, which is playing into Ben's hands. Those Falcons are really getting their value and not dying. And this is going to be so good for Ben. I think Raton could have just set up camp and tried to poke. But now Ben gets a really killer counterattack here. He's going to wait for some of his units to heal up, get a good angle. As long as he can keep those Falcons alive just long enough to get extra value, like... yeah, look at how fast those Falcons gunned down that cam. Falcons do go down, but now Ben just has the superior squirrel count. He has to be careful to respect Raton's defender's advantage, but with the mole coming up, crit damaging that Warren and finishing it off, I think Ben just takes it now. He's going to push in one more mole again, and as soon as the Warrens start falling, Raton's defender's advantage starts to fall as well, and it looks like Ben has really played his opponent's aggression into his own hands, and he takes the series 3-2. So the first round of games there is done. Let's take stock. We've got Mishi in the winner's match, beating Snake 3-0, and we've got Ben Dove in the winner's match, beating Raton 3-2. So winner's match will be next here. Here we have Mishi versus Ben Dove. Pardon if there was a little audio glitch there. I had to record this in 2 segments. So here we go. Mishi in the middle of the map here, kind of towards the bottom, in the red. And Ben Dove in the yellow up at the top, here in the winner's match. So the winner of this best of 5 will get out of the group in first place, going on to the playoffs, and the loser will go to the final match. So this is not an elimination match, this is a winner's match. Mishi, the previous champion, as I said before, so I think he's definitely the favored here. Having said that, Ben is definitely a strong contender for sure. Ben Dove playing very strong in that last match against Raton, taking him out but then Mishi with the 3-0. So again, let's see what Mishi has planned here and what Ben would like to do to hold that off. Right now we've got a 7-farm safety from both sides queuing up a squirrel, or buying 1 squirrel and then queuing up a farm after that. Okay, Ben actually getting 2. So Mishi slightly ahead there, I think. Yeah, hard to say. I'd say it's pretty close to even, but both sides definitely safe. Now, here's the thing. Ben can expand over to this side. It looks like he may... Yeah, that's what he's shooting for here. Which is pretty safe. There's a couple of tiny chokes here on this side. This one very small choke. And then this relatively small opening here. So Ben is pretty safe. Mishi, on the other hand, his regular base is so far forward that he actually has 3 different back bases he could go for, all of which are literally just as safe. That base there, this one in the south, which is the one he went for, and this one, all of them are completely unreachable except through this tiny choke right here where his warrens are at, and this tiny cliff path. So if this game goes long, and Mishi actually gets to hold this choke with maybe MGs, and this forward mill that will follow first, and he gets these 3 back mills, which is a really strange map, but I like it for Mishi. Ben Dove has, you know, an easy third base as well, but he only gets 3. And it looks like Ben is going for a squirrel mole push. Mishi gonna put down a turret. I like this turret placement. It's kind of back enough that Mishi's warrens will be able to tank as well, but there's also no way around it. Mishi also gonna grab a second MG here a little bit further back, and a third. Okay, so he definitely knows he just needs to hold. He's grabbed 2 farms on this expansion. Oh, and he's trying to poke forward here. He actually loses a squirrel, but he's got 3 MGs to fall back to, so I don't think Ben Dove's going to be able to get anything done. Those MGs spread really nicely with the warren taking as well. Mishi actually wasting a few squirrels out in front. I think he's just trying to trade down because he's got the eco lead that he can easily get away with that. Ben, behind this, is actually teching into squirrels, and he grabs a single farm here. Or, sorry, skunks. I said squirrels. I meant skunks right there. You can see it. And skunks are going to do very well in these chokes. Ooh, it looks like Ben is actually going to be able to pick off this warren here. And a mole. Mishi trying to go around for the other angle, which there's only 1 turret here now and an expensive warren that he can try, so forces Mishi to sell that, but this MG is still covering, so he kills a warren and backs up. I think that's pretty good value for Ben Dove, forcing the sell, and Mishi now floating a bunch of food without the tech on the way. Now, Mishi does have 4 farms, so that's a pretty solid eco lead, but again, Ben Dove with the skunk, and Squirrel Mole Skunk pretty beefy, and the skunk is going to do very well in these very choky positions. Mishi relying on just Mass Squirrel at the moment, so Ben definitely, as soon as that second skunk pops, he's buying a bunch of farms, and he could go for a pretty nasty push here. Okay, so not committing super hard to the push. He's actually just getting another Squirrel Warren. I think he doesn't really want to engage Mishi into those 3 MGs, and I don't blame him. So Mishi, reading the situation here that he's not going to get attacked, keeps the 3 MGs, but he's going to go all the way up to 16 farms. And Mishi is so well known for this kind of ultra greed. He knows what he can get away with, and boy, does he just lean hard into it. Now, I believe he just scouted the Badger. Yes, yeah, Mishi just scouted the Badger that's been put down. Ben Dove going for that tier 3 timing, and it looks like Mishi is going to respond with a bunch of tier 2, some snakes, some falcons. Both snakes and falcons offer some pretty strong counterplay to a Badger. If you can tag it down, it's got a, limited lifespan. And the falcons actually have more DPS than the Badger at first. But Mishi also going to attack in here, calling the bluff on his opponent. His squirrels have a pretty nice arc, so the skunk gas is not getting enough value at first. He picks off the skunk warren, and now that's a lot of squirrels he's moving in with. He is going to have to retreat, though, and be careful to micro against that skunk gas is starting to get value. And, of course, the defender's advantage for Ben. He's got some moles as well. The Badger has been paid for, so that's a lot of food that's not in the fight. Now, Mishi's army actually evaporates pretty quickly there at the end. The skunks did get their value, but Mishi killed the skunk warren, so Ben is not going to have any skunks with his Badger at all. Now, Mishi continuing to push here. The Badger is still not out, so snakes tag a couple of pigs that are definitely going to go down. He might try to focus down this mill. Continuing to get a couple of snake tags out. The mill goes down and the Badger's about to pop, so Ben has this one moment to try to mount a counteroffensive. Mishi still has a couple of tier units left. One tag does go down to the Badger. Looks like the pigeon is trying to tag it. 2 tags on the Badger. and a bunch of units left to fight, and there's no pigeons, so I think this Badger is definitely going to go down, and Ben does not have any more eco, so he taps. An excellent timing play out of Mishi, and good counterplay against this skunk there. He didn't have to fight it in the choke. So Mishi taking that first game in a pretty commanding fashion. Mostly off the back of that held push, I think, that really gave him an edge and the ability to greed up. Let's go into game 2 of this winner's match. All right, Mishi up 1-0 in the red here. And Ben Dove in the yellow in the far north of the map. I would say this is a little bit more even of a map. It's going to be... Actually, I like this map a little bit better for Ben Dove, to be honest. He gets this pretty convenient expansion here, whereas Mishi is going to be hard-pressed to take anything besides a ninja, to be honest. Now, Mishi does have MGs, which can help if you need to take a faraway mill and throw down some last-minute defense or something. But Ben Dove is bringing the ferrets this time, so there's only so much Mishi can do with the turrets before ferrets come out. So similar game plan from the deck here, it looks like, for Mishi. You know, I didn't actually take note of exactly what Mishi's deck was last game, but he has... I think he used every unit last game except for the boar, so that's the only unit that could have been different. So pardon the memory slip there. Ben, on the other hand, going for a slightly different comp here. He dropped the skunks, he dropped the moles. More of a poke style play with the ferrets and snakes. So if Mishi gets a lot of his composition out, he definitely has a much more fighting deck. Beefy fighting comp, and he is going to go cam first, which unfortunately for Ben, the cam first is going to be able to get out no problem, since Ben was kind of going to take this expansion, then backed off and took that one. All of those extra seconds of indecision really allow Mishi to be unpunished getting that cam out, and he is going to actually let the cam get paid for here. I usually supply block it, but he definitely wants the cam as soon as possible. And Mishi is a better player than I, so I respect that decision. Ben Dove looks like he's massing up on squirrels without farming up yet, so maybe he's going to try to punish, but it's going to be too late. You know, you have to already have the squirrels on the way if you're going to try to punish a tier 2 first. As it is, Mishi easily has that first cam out, second one paid for. Mishi trying to grab this kind of ninja. I mean, if he can take a forward position on the map, that's a relatively safe one. Although it's a little bit close to Ben's expansion here. It looks like Ben is checking over here for bases first, and is seeing none. He's got to know there's either more army or another base, so he's just going to keep massing up squirrels. And pure squirrel versus squirrel cam, it's fairly even. I can't really call a lead here. I think Ben actually has an advantage. Mishi just put down some farms and Ben is gonna attack in before that turret finishes. So the cams are gunned down. The turret does finish, which means Mishi gets to hold here. He's gonna try to counter push, and I don't think the counter push makes a lot of sense here. So he backs up. With this many tier 1 warrants, Ben definitely has a pretty strong defender's advantage, but he did kill both cams, so that was actually not too terrible of a trade for Ben, considering. But Mishi is able to farm up here, and with that turret, taking a forward position on the map to keep his expansion safe. He's going to kind of move the game over to this right side. If Ben can get ferrets up, that'll shut down the MGs, but he's not able to do it yet. Okay, balloon is going to be the answer here. Both sides kind of doubling down on the defenses. I think if Mishi scouted the balloon, he doesn't need that extra turret, but he can't quite see it. The balloon is going to give Ben Dove not only a little bit of extra firepower that is unreachable by cams, but the biggest deal here is actually the vision, I'd say. Definitely worth the 120 food for, some DPS, but also just being able to see. Let's check the vision here for Ben Dove. Yeah, absolutely enormous vision. He can see any flanks coming from a mile away, as well as getting full confirmation of exactly how many MGs Mishi currently has. So this is actually huge because it allows Ben to get these ferrets up. It allows him to really feel like he has a hold on this forward part of the map. even though, again, the balloon doesn't offer that much firepower, just the information is everything in an RTS. So he's going to be able to see. And the first ferret pops out. Mishi is gone, actually, so ferret's two-shotting those MGs. That's a lot of value already. So actually really unfortunate for Mishi there. He's got forward Warrens here as well. Slightly more forward than they necessarily need to be. So this is actually so good for the ferret player. Again, he killed 1.5 MGs for free. He's gotten some squirrel kills as well as damage on that Warren. So already Ben Dove getting his ferrets paid for here. And Mishi is stuck into this too many squirrels to really dodge the ferret blasts completely. And he's desperately trying to get into some falcons, which allow him to kind of push forward. But another Warren goes down. And Ben is actually going to push kind of at an angle here. And Ben has also been massing so much squirrel behind this. While the ferrets are poking, he actually just has a superior army right now, whereas Mishi had tried to greed up. And the one thing you cannot do against ferrets is greed up. So the ferrets are shooting down those falcon warrens. The falcons are alone against mass squirrel. And it looks like Ben is going to be able to just push right through. Ben playing the map very well. You could say, okay, well, Mishi got dealt a very bad map, but, you know, he played it well. Oh, the boar. Okay. There is a boar here. I don't think it's enough. Yeah, boar counters squirrels, but by itself against 24 squirrels and a balloon or two, Mishi's not going to die outright, but Ben has such a huge eco advantage right now. And Mishi, again, having to place those forward warrens. Anyway, I was saying, you could say that this is definitely a terrible map for Mishi, but at the same time, Ben didn't have to play it the way he did, and he played to the map's strengths very well here, and it looks like we've got a bit of a base trade going on. Ben definitely has a superior DPS right now. Oh, okay. Mishi's not actually going for the base trade, he's just cleaning up Warrens. The balloon, look at how much damage the balloon has done to that boar. That boar is going to die instantly. I think if it weren't for that balloon's damage, the boar might be able to handle this, but the boar just dying instantly because of all of that balloon damage. So with that, Ben Dove ties the series up. Let's go to game 3. So we're guaranteed at least a 4-game series here. Mishi in the red up at the top right, and Ben in the bottom left in the yellow. So yeah, these two seem to be pretty closely matched. I like the way Ben played that map, but that was a pretty unique situation. I don't think we're going to see another map quite like that. So Mishi could very well pull it together here and take the lead again. Both of these players definitely experienced enough to... I don't expect Mishi to be too tilted off of that either. That's definitely a factor in some of these games. Or it can be. But I don't think it will be here. You know, if you guys remember the championship match that Mishi won, he was actually down like 5-0 or whatever it was. He was on match point, and he reverse sweeped Tatanka of all players. Now, Tatanka didn't adjust his style necessarily, but just saying Mishi at any point could have been very tilted and wasn't. Here we've got a 5-farm double, which is kind of a not standard rush. And Ben isn't quite ready for it, actually. The squirrel warren's just finished, and there's kind of a pig off by itself, so 2 lizards should be able to finish off that pig. In a second, the squirrels are going to pop, but this should be enough time to pick off the pig and get out with plenty of value. 1 lizard dies for 1 pig. Huge value for Mishi in this early game. Let's see if he can get out of it cleanly. Looks like both sides just going to stick with their 2 warrens and farm up, so Mishi gets up to his 8 farms. 7 farms in the 8th one queued, and he's moving out with 5 lizards. 5 lizards are not going to be able to do anything now against 6 squirrels, but just keeping Ben back. And yeah, Mishi definitely going to be able to get his 8th farm up much quicker. So Mishi taking a pretty solid lead off of that rush here in this game. Oops, there we go. Let's see how much of the map these two have seen. Okay, yeah, Mishi actually has a pretty fair understanding of how this map is going, whereas Ben looks like he's still a little bit in the dark about how many expansions he's got. So yeah, Mishi going ahead and taking a pretty far away base. So kind of like last game, it's not a very convenient second base for him. It's almost a ninja. But this time he's got a bit of a lead in the early game. So we'll see if he can hold on against a ferret timing or something again. Ben going for cams for his first tier 2. Mishi also getting some cams. Also running around with the lizards here. There's no backdoor at all, so I don't think he's going to be able to get much done. He might be able to pop in here and kill this Warren while Ben is away, but yeah, it's a bit risky. Ben does scout the expansion here. Let's check the army graph. Oop, I keep hitting the wrong buttons here. Excuse me. Okay, so super even armies so far. Ben has just like one squirrel ahead, according to that graph. Slight tempo on the tier 2, but it doesn't really matter. Mishi has that extra farm, and that's really the most important thing right now. Is Mishi has that extra farm. So there's a timer on Ben, basically. You've got to get some damage done or get an expansion of your own. Otherwise, Mishi's going to start running away with his eco. Now, Mishi with Squizzard, which is very good defensively if you get a nice setup on it. Both sides with their 2 cams, and Mishi going to put a turret down on this high ground. The engage comes in, and I really don't see how Ben could do this. I think with the MG, Mishi should be able to hold. The MG doesn't even quite get killed, so that's a very good engage for Mishi. And he's going to kind of push forward and... Okay, actually, the pursuing worked out better for Ben here. Yeah, that was definitely an overextension for Mishi. That turret is super low, so Ben actually is going to be able to keep pushing here. Mishi sells the MG, just better to get a little food back than lose it straight up. The pig is barely saved here as a cam pops out for Mishi. This is going to be just barely a hold. Okay, the cam gets away for Ben. Very nice. Mishi's got to be careful about overextending on these counterattacks. That's what almost, lost him a pig and a couple of extra units there, so... like I was saying in game 1, Ben has so many tier 1 Warrens that his reinforcement rate is absolutely insane. Now, Ben actually has 2 cams right now, whereas Mishi is just finishing 1, and he only has 1 farm ahead. He's trying to get some MGs up on this high ground, but Ben could try to just go around and go for his expansion. Let's see how Mishi can control this high ground. It's super important for him to keep control of this high ground because it's going to allow him to keep getting value from his extra farm. He's getting another one. Ben getting a balloon here and some ferrets, which is okay. In fact, I think it's a very good move because it's going to allow him to push back this MG line. Mishi's really depending on his MGs to be this greedy. But against ferrets, again, you can't be too greedy and you can't depend on MGs. So I could see Ben Dove coming back here. He's definitely behind for now, but taking this forward position with the balloon again. We might see another situation like last game. But Mishi definitely has a much better spot here. Let's check the balloon vision. Yeah, balloon, even more important getting that high ground vision because it's going to allow him to take shots at these high ground MGs. And I think Mishi just needs to sell the MGs and he'll get more value than he did last time. But I think he's trying to dance here with his lizards to keep the ferret shots off of the MGs. But Ben is having none of that. He focuses down once. Okay, another shot does go towards the MGs. Mishi is desperately trying to keep using the MGs here. He has so many extra farms. Okay, and the engagement comes in. He's going to chase, and he's going to fight here. Okay, Ben Dove with the balloon, and the ferrets are actually a much better combat unit than they used to be. And Mishi knows he has to be able to keep these MGs firing to get a little bit of value, and he does. I'm a little worried, though. Ben Dove with an army lead with ferrets, you can really push your lead right into your opponent's warrens, and he's already killed one warren. He's going to kill another here. If it weren't for the ferrets, Mishi would definitely be far in the lead here, but okay. Mishi is going to be able to push back as long as he can keep ferret shots off that cam. Again, look at the eco here, 9-4, and I think Mishi needs to just put all of his money into army and not fall behind in army, because that's where Ben is going to be able to come back with those ferrets. Mishi has the eco lead. I think he just needs to start using it. Okay, the cam's actually caught out in the open, one picked off almost immediately. That's huge for Ben Dove. It's going to allow him to keep dancing here and getting value with his ferrets without fear of being too far behind in army. So Mishi trying to drop some more squirrel warrens, whatever he can pay for, and keep the shots off of his army. Pretty good micro so far for Mishi. Okay, one squirrel does go down there finally, and he pushes back Ben Dove, who is still waiting on a second ferret. You know, it really only takes one ferret to kind of put on this amount of pressure. So he is going to sell a squirrel one, go down pretty low in squirrels, and get another farm. But I think Mishi needs to not be farming up too heavily here. He needs to be getting an army. You know, he's already ahead enough in economy. Don't get too greedy here. If he really puts all of his money into army, he might be able to catch Ben Dove while he's a little bit weak. Here we go. The balloon is going to get targeted down, sold for half value. And Mishi getting on top of the Warrens. The cams do go down. And with that counterattack, Ben was just trying to transition into some more squirrels and some eco. Mishi with a very good counter timing. All right. So we are going into game 4 here. Mishi on match point, 2-1 here in the red in the far right. And Ben Dove in the far left. Game order has gone so far. Mishi taking a point, Ben taking a point, Mishi taking a point. So if we follow that pattern, it's Ben's turn to take us to game 5. He's dropping the ferrets. It seems like Mishi definitely was able to counterplay. Now, I think the ferrets were amazing, though, and really got Ben Dove ahead. Or at least gave him a counterplay since Mishi was ahead from that rush. But anyway, Ben Dove dropping and going for a different style here. Mishi's sticking with the turrets. Either he definitely thinks he can play against the ferrets with the MGs, especially before they're out, or he is expecting Ben to drop the ferrets at some point. Now, neither side, on this map, neither side has an easy expansion at all. There's one here on this side kind of between them, and there's 3 clustered up here. So if either side can use their structures to snag this top corner and hold it, late game, whoever gets that is just straight up going to win. But other than that, it looks like we're going to have a 1 base versus 1 base for a while. Again, unless one of them can kind of get away with it. So Mishi there getting the tier 2 out right away, which is a really solid play if you're going to try for a kind of a timing, a 1 base timing. Starting with tier 2 and then massing up tier 1 and going for it is not bad. Ben setting up some mines here. This is basically the only way for Mishi to go around this side of the map. You can kind of sneak around, but those mines are pretty solid. It's a path that Mishi's likely to take unless he goes for the top. So, interesting call there from Ben. And Mishi looks like he's diversifying into Cam Squizzard. Definitely looks like a pretty scary fighting force with lots of micro potential. And Ben here getting into Skunks, which unfortunately, definitely not the greatest choice. Squizzard can definitely do fine against Skunks because you can split your army, and Cams are, on paper, a counter to Skunks as well. So I definitely favor this army for Mishi. The only thing Ben has in his favor here, besides obviously mines can help, is if the fight happens in these little choky areas, the Skunks definitely get their value. But it looks like Mishi wants to take the game over to this wide open space and claim these 3 bases, so the Skunks are not necessarily going to get as much value as they need here. Mishi throwing down some more Squirrel Warrens. I'd like to see another Lizard Warren, but maybe just 3 Lizards is enough to counter potential Ferret play. Might be what he's thinking here. There we go, there's some more Lizards. And I think he sees the Skunks now, which is why the Lizard play. Now, Ben Dove staking a claim on one of these 3 mills as well. Super important for him. He's getting some a Mole Warren here, which could be a defensive thing, moles and mines here, to try to hold if Mishi tries to attack, which definitely gives Ben's army a lot of added flexibility with those moles. All right, some pre-gas going down, and here comes the attack from Mishi. The Skunks getting on top of the Cams getting on top of everything. Before they die, they get plenty of value. Okay, he does actually save one of them for now. That is really nice. Now, the only good thing for Ben here is he did save his 2 Skunks, but other than that, he lost his forward mill, he lost his Mole Warren, he lost a lot, and Mishi still has this base. Mishi has the faster units. He's got 2 bases on 1, so base trade is not really an option for Ben Dove. Selling these mines makes a lot of sense. the theater of battle has definitely moved over to this plain up here in the north. Okay, Ben dropping some moles here. Okay, looks like he's going for 2 of them. He might get a... If Mishi is gone, he might be able to get a mill snipe or a couple of warrens. I don't think going for the pigs is going to be that worth it right now, since they're about fallowed. But if he can get a mill snipe or something, that would really, first of all, give him a base trade opportunity. And second of all, more importantly, kind of... Well, I guess the eco is not really as big of a deal here, but let's see. Let's see what Ben has in mind. Mishi getting a lot more lizards. I think he's also trying to counter the skunks. He's also farming up so much. Even if Ben gets this mill, Mishi has 8 farms on his new base already. So here we go. He is going for the mill. A lot of lizards actually popping out of warrens right now. How did Mishi do that? His commander wasn't there, right? Like, those lizards were just popping... I'm confused. Maybe his commander popped back and I didn't see it. But somehow Mishi gets his lizards over here by some magic. And Ben taps out. Did I miss maybe a cam counterplay or something? No, I think Ben just knew that he was dead. He didn't have an expansion. Mishi had 16 farms. His little mole all-in failed, so... Looks like Mishi is going to take that series 3-1, moving on to the playoffs in first place. And honestly, not a huge surprise there, previous champion. But Ben is not out. He's going to go to the final match here, waiting the winner of the losers match. All right, I got that scoreboard switched over, and we're going to go right into the losers match here. Snake versus Raton. Again, a recap on the scores here. Snake lost 0-3 to Mishi. No shame in that, though, Mishi being the champion. And Raton, a very close fight between him and Ben Dove, losing 2-3. So given those numbers, I think we have to favor Raton here. But Snake is hungry. He's definitely... he just got into Premier fighting through the qualifiers. Both Raton and Snake did, but... I know that Snake has really been fighting hard to get up into Premier. So let's see what he's got in him. Let's see what Raton has in mind. Looks like we have a little bit of a mole cheese from both sides. This is actually really funny. Raton is going to be able to snipe this, not snipe this pig because the pig got built. There's that one. It was hard to see both sides of that, sorry, but it looks like some damage gets done on both sides and the mole warrens get sold. And I like Raton's situation better here. Yeah, okay, so Raton obviously came out ahead on that. His 8th farm is finished first. Yeah, that was kind of funny. Both had the exact same idea there with some high ground adjacent to fresh farms. So small edge to Raton off of that exchange there. Both sides know that they're up against moles and probably squirrels, so both sides have to be wary of that squirrel-mole timing push. Raton looks like he's got a very aggressive early game deck here. Squirrel, lizard, mole, cam, all very aggressive and strong in the early game. And then potential badger pigeon later on. Of course, cam pigeon is also a thing, but I'm kind of seeing this as a badger timing or an early, very powerful early comp. Snake, on the other hand, with a much more meta style, boar pigeon. Boar Cam Falcon. The Cam Falcon is just so flexible. Boar Cam Falcon can also handle a badger on its own as well, depending on the rest of the composition. But Cam Falcon just has enough DPS that if the badger player is not careful, the badger could die very quickly. Okay, the badger is going down here. Snake going for an expansion. Raton going for a 1-base badger timing. He's also dropped the Cam Warren early, probably just to get it up for defense. Snake is actually selling down his squirrels, going for a Cam Warren as well as a 9th farm here. He has not seen the badger, but I think if he's counting food, he might suspect something. So let's see what he can see here. I think he's looking for an expansion here, and he gets the badger scouted, and he's going to try to force a sell on it. Let's see if Raton can sniff this out. Knowing your opponent has moles, you got to be careful with the badger wiring off to the side like this, because this kind of a play definitely could ruin the day for Raton. and he is not there to sell it. He's going to try to burrow back just in time to see it get killed almost for free. That is such an insane loss for Raton. That is so much value. I believe the Badger had been paid for as well, which is just crazy. It had been built and then got sniped. So honestly, Snake probably just wins from here straight up. He farms up insanely and still has exactly an equal army. Raton dropped the Badger Warren again, of course, here, but and Raton trying to get some extra value by running in with his cams. He does kill a farm. Snake standing in a very masterful spot trying to catch those cams on a reveal, but Raton sees through it and moves around. If Snake can snag those cams. Okay, so the cams get away. Good counter micro from Raton. Now, Snake floating a lot of food here, so he's got to be careful to spend that on something or he's going to actually throw away his advantage. There we go. The boar goes down. Some falcons just, getting the food spent. He has so much of an economic lead. Raton basically has one chance to push in. If Raton can push in with the Badger and maybe kill these Warrens because they're so far forward, that would be the way back in, for sure here. Snake trying this again on the Badger. Raton definitely giving himself all the chances in the world. I'd love to see him actually... Okay, those pigeons are quite a bit late. They're not going to be ready by the time the Badger comes out, which means Raton's going to either have to delay his push and go pigeonless or wait. And he's... I don't know. I think I would have liked either the pigeons earlier or maybe go for a base and farm up so you have some counterplay here. But all right, Badger coming out and some pigeons will be tailing behind. So definitely not completely useless. They'll catch up when they can. Snake going for a cam flank, trying to catch some of these squirrels. And the Badger is revved up now, chewing up these Warrens. Gonna try to target the Boar Warren. The Boar Warren goes down and the Badger has 1 hit point left. There's a pigeon tag on it, so if the Badger can get away, Raton has definitely done his damage. The Boar is gone right before it comes out, but the Badger gets stuck on a bit of terrain and dies, so Snake still is gonna have a big enough army to push right through. Also, Raton does not really have an expansion to fall back to, so Snake definitely losing the Boar Warren there, but the Badger going down means I think Snake gets to take this game 1. Oops. Snake taking game 1. Some good play out of both players, a couple of mistakes from both players as well. Let's see if either one can really patch their game up and play as strong as I know they can. Definitely a very tricky one there. Now, this map, very far distances between their bases. We got Snake in the bottom here, leading 1-0, and Raton just a couple of games from elimination here. But this map, there's no direct path from each base to each base, so you have to go all the way up to here and around, and then through some water. So easily, don't think this is necessary from Snake at all. Maybe he hasn't seen his opponent. Yeah, okay, it is. Never mind. 5 farm safety, very standard when you haven't scouted your opponent yet. But that actually gives Raton a pretty big edge because you can be so greedy with spawns like this. Okay, so Snake selling that Warren once he realizes how far away his opponent is. Both sides getting up to 8 farms. Raton slightly ahead from that, but it's not really a big deal. Okay, Raton getting a couple of moles ready here. He might try to snipe these forward pigs, which would be huge. If Snake isn't quite... Oh no! Snake didn't drop tier 1 Warrens, he got a tier 2, which means these moles are going to be able to snipe at least 1 pig. Definitely easy here. Alright, that is definitely unfortunate, but what do you do as Snake? You just kind of cut your losses and grab that pig again. Hope that your greed can pay off. Raton here just getting a bunch of tier 1. I'd love to see some tech out of Raton as well. But Snake, with that 8th farm just being reset and only Skunk, he's actually a bit vulnerable right now. If Raton wanted to go for a squirrel mole bust... Oh, wow. Okay, so he just does that to flex and terrify Snake a little bit. Snake is ready. So yeah, Raton does go with the cams there now. He might just push forward with these squirrels. Okay, no, he's leaving them at home. All right. Snake ready to defend, putting down a mine. Let's see where these players want to go from here, because it doesn't look like either one is going to die anytime soon now. Okay, Raton swapping out his squirrels for a bunch of lizards. He's trying to squeeze them all into the space here. Yep, you can get 3 that way. Definitely a little bit risky, but considering the map, he's totally fine. And Cam Lizard and then the Badger Warren goes down. Kind of a strange anti-timing there with the tier 1 first, but it's just to have enough army to survive a fight here. And Lizard Cam is pretty good against Squirrel Skunk. Although with four skunks and in chokes and on water, I think Snake would also have a fighting chance here. Let's see what he does. He drops the wolf, so we're going to have a tier 3 against tier 3. So I think we're just going to be waiting here for a bit. I really don't think either side's going to attack. Just depends on how greedy each side is going to get and trying to get their macro up so they can have as good of a supporting comp as possible. Raton moving out here with his lizards, at least threatening. I don't think he's going to be able to get much done, though. There's a couple of mines he's about to hit. Yeah, he's going to run right into mines here. And with 4 skunks and enough squirrels and those mines, this is actually going to get cleaned up very easily. Raton just killing a few units. I mean, I don't know. I really don't think that was worth it. He's got to be careful here with these cams too. No, the commander goes down and the cams are going to die. Okay, 1 cam dies, 1 skunk dies. And Snake is going to catch the other one. Okay, it gets away. All right, all right. That was super scary for a second there. Man, Snake is really trying to catch this cam. I think it should get away, though. It's pretty hard to catch a fleeing cam. It's worth trying, and he's keeping damage on it, so it's not healing up. But now Raton is pushing out with the Badger, and oh no, all the units are retreating. This is actually really terrible for Snake. Such a back and forth game. Snake trying to retreat his army actually loses 2 skunks and a falcon, all of which he needs. He needs that high skunk count against the lizards, and he needs those falcons to gun down the Badger. So that was a brutal loss for Snake, and he might just die to this push right now. A couple of mines are what he needs to thin down the lizard numbers, but there isn't enough here to fight this Badger, honestly. Snake overextending a little bit, trying to catch that cam, and with this timing of this Badger, the wolf has nothing left to buff. He's taking down that Falcon Warren. That's about the only thing the Badger is afraid of right now. And Raton takes it. Really spicy back and forth game so far between these two. Looking fairly desperate, trying to avoid elimination and go to that final match. Snake up in the top, and Raton in the red in the south, in the bottom. Similar decks from both sides here. It looks like Raton definitely has this early spicy style with a potential Badger timing. I mean, with this many options in the early game, you don't have a lot of weaknesses. And so the Badger can come out very often. Snake with his preferred boar deck. I'd love to see the boar actually get out one of these games. That would be interesting to see how Raton deals with that. Looks like Snake with a bit of a mole cheese here. This is one of the things Snake really used to get up to Premier. A lot of the players he faced in the qualifiers, I believe I saw 1 or 2 of them and he used some moles in a bit. So definitely one of the styles he's been getting good at. Raton sees it coming, but doesn't have an answer ready at all. He is just going to do the whole sell here. It's a tempo thing, right? That move is pretty common, where the mole player is just trying to force a sell on things to get ahead in tempo. Ideally, you don't have to buy the second mole there, so it's hard to say whether that was worth it. I think it was, but I'm not really a mole expert when it comes to the math of those things. It's mostly just a tempo thing for Snake here. But Raton, the map is so huge. We've got a bunch of road on this side. It's kind of a more windy path, and then there's some water in the middle here. It's not, I guess it's not super huge, not as bad as last game, but it's still pretty far. So I would favor the greedy defensive player in this situation. Neither side really able to take an expansion. Raton took one, but then he sold it. Maybe he was a bit worried. Snake definitely going to be able to take his, though, and Raton floating a lot of food. Maybe there's the Badger. Badger goes down. We're going to see if he can win with that again. He did just win a game with a Badger timing, so I like it. Let's see if Snake can be ready for it this time, starting with scouting it. Okay, is he going to go for it? Yes, all right. So he does scout the Badger and get away. He dropped some cams as well as having that extra mill. He might just go boar here. Yep, there's the boar. So boar's a little bit later than the Badger. Oh my goodness. Okay, Raton just completely sells the Badger. He's just going to go for a tier 1 bust. Now, the timing of this is a little bit funky. I think he's just going to try to keep Snake back, but it's going to be kind of an all-in with squirrels. And the thing is, if the boar comes out with support, the boar is going to be such a hard counter to this. But Snake sells the boar. I don't know if I like that. I think just hold on and try to keep it, but he's definitely taking this threat seriously, so he's going to drop some moles. He's got his cams. He's got one farm to defend, try to keep that eco lead, and Raton is ready to push out. Snake is totally ready, though. He's put all his money back into army. Squirrel's coming out, a couple of moles ready, and again, he's got that slight eco lead, so as long as he can keep this base alive, Snake has got this. He actually sells that forward mole warren. And here we go. The cam's coming in and getting bonked. But Snake already basically able to hold, so Raton has to back off. Now, there's no boar coming, so it's not like he needed to kill it before it got out this time. But Snake has that extra farm, so I definitely favor Snake's position right now. Snake has a little bit of tech. He's got the extra farm. He does sell the moles there for a little bit of extra value to get that second farm, and Raton is going to get into Squizzard and an expansion. Seems like Raton is definitely switching his... There's a trap. He's definitely switching his style, like, every minute or so this game. He was going to go into a Badger, but then he sold it into a Mass Squirrel, which didn't quite work, and now he's selling that into a base that he originally did buy and then sell again to get the Badger. So Raton is flip-flopping quite a lot here, which it can work if you can kind of pull the wool over your eyes and get a mind game up. But Snake has been scouting very well, and on the flip side here, sometimes that amount of switching styles can signal desperation. Oh, okay, Raton coming in here. He's going to target down this boar warren if he can get it. Nope, the cams are there. And that, honestly, I think that's going to be about it for Raton. Snake has had this eco lead for a little while. The boar warren tanked so many lizards, and the lizards died. As I was saying, all of that flip-flopping in game plans from Raton, it ends up being you're kind of putting yourself behind in tempo over and over and over again, and it also shows a kind of desperation. He is going to push in here one more time, but Snake, proper scouting technique, you put your army one way and scout the other, so his army is ready to do just fine without the commander there. Maybe the cams being in front would have done even better, but it's good enough, and he just crushes that, and the boar is about to pop, so Snake playing very well there at the end, coming out on top. And again, I think it comes down so much to Raton flipping between styles a little bit much. You kind of just want to go with the game plan, stick with it. Even if your opponent scouts something, sometimes it's better just to stick with it, because if you sell it and do something else, you've lost a lot of tempo. So we'll see how he does here. Snake in the top right on match point, and Raton in the bottom left. Snake sticking with almost the same deck here. It looks like he's dropping the moles in favor of Snakes, although it looks like he was kind of faking mole cheese there. Raton changing it up here. Squirrel mole and all the tier 2. I think this is what he did against Ben Dove, am I wrong? Towards the end of that series, I think this was the same kind of switch we saw, so this might be like a secondary style that he has to try to just throw off his opponent who's expecting a Badger timing or something. By the way, that Badger timing thing might be why Snake wanted to get the Snakes here. Snakes aren't great in a lot of situations this patch, but one thing they still can do is fight a Badger. But Snake still has the Squirrel, Cam, Boar, Falcon kind of base to his deck. So let's see what they'd like to do here. One thing that both of these players have in common in their styles is they're both fairly reluctant to grab bases and eco up. Neither one really wants to be the one to, especially scouted, neither one really wants to be the first one to blink and buy a base. Even going so far as to buy a base and then sell it. So much more aggressive styles. Which in a lot of ways, it's not the current meta, so it can work, especially if both players are going for it. But if you get a player like Mishi who's going to buy a base and greed up on it, play defensively safely, know what he can get away with, then he's going to be able to pull ahead pretty quick. So I'd like to see, I mean, that's an aggressive mill too. I'd like to see just grab a safe base, you know, greed up. Raton here going into some cams. Snake has not seen the cam warren yet. I think he's really looking for what the heck is Raton up to. There we go. Sees the tier 2, so he's going to be able to come home and drop some tier of his own. There's the cams as well. Maybe a second set. Nope, just some more squirrels. Yeah, considering how late he scouted the cams, I don't blame him. Just getting one tier 2 warren of his own. Going to try to see if he can hold his forward base and maybe get a farm up. Raton going into a second cam warren, and is that going to get scouted? No. Okay. He was just checking for whether the base was there or not. Snake knows something is up, though. He's looking, I think he's looking for a Badger warren. Not seeing it, though. Just seeing Raton still has no expansion. That's a lot of squirrels from Snake. Pretty aggressive posturing here. It looks like he might try to bust what he thinks is a tier 3 timing. Okay, the snakes go down. Yeah, Snake is definitely thinking Badger is on its way. Yeah, Raton is giving all the signs of Badger. Okay, the second tier 2 warren is scouted, so now Snake knows what's up. It's not, in fact, a Badger timing. It is tier 2. Some pigeons go down. Pigeons will go well with the cam and Snake here. And Raton actually setting up for a timing attack with his 4 cams. There's some moles as well. This is actually a pretty tough push for Snake to deal with. His snakes aren't out yet. Neither are his pigeons. And already Raton has got a couple of squirrel kills. The cams moving forward ahead of Snake's army just a tiny bit too much, get picked off very quickly. A couple of snake tags go down on cams, and those are definitely going to die here pretty quick. The pigeons are out, though, for Snake, and now he gets to defend. Cams moving forward, and 2 of them do pop. The Snake pulling back. Very nice micro from Snake with his snakes, so the cams are all going down, but Raton just has too many squirrels at this point, and it looks like he's going to take this 2-2. We're going to game 5. A lot of that just goes down to Snake expecting the Badger and not getting it. All right, Snake here in the yellow and Raton in the red. We are at game 5. The loser of this single game is eliminated, and the winner goes up against Ben Dove. And considering the play style from these two, as well as the map, I really don't think we're going to see a macro game here. There is not an easy base, an easy expansion on the map at all. This one looks like it's close to Raton, but it's around a cliff and through some water, so it's pretty far away. Same for this one for Snake. Like, it's around some doodads, but considering these two bases are so close to each other, I don't think both players are really going to be able to take a base, unless one of them goes for some kind of ninja. But Snake has lizards, so on a kind of a base trading map like this, the lizards are going to do quite well. And Raton has moles, so he could punish the ninja if he sees it. Oh, interesting response from Snake. He's trying to save this. Nice! Okay, I like it. I like it. So he actually kills the mole and saves his farm. I like it for Snake there. He lost 2 mines and killed 1 mole, and then with the loss of 5 food on the mole run. So technically value for Raton, but Raton also lost a little tempo doing it. So I like it for Snake. Interesting idea there to go with the mine defense. It's funny because the mole actually killed 1 mine, and then the other mine plus a couple of pig shots killed the mole. Okay, so Snake there, that initial Warren looked like he was going to try to play defensive and take this base. It didn't look like an aggressive Warren because it was squirrels. But after being scouted, it looks like he's going to back up and go into lizards. I like the decision to go lizards on this map. Raton teching up into cams. Also an excellent choice, I think, here. If we're going to have 1 base versus 1 base, the player with tech initially gets a nice timing advantage and a nice beefy army advantage. But if it gets low and scrappy, those camps might have to get sold here. Snake looking like he wants to attack, but Squizzard isn't the best at attacking, and Raton is ready. Okay, Raton might not be quite ready enough. Warren almost goes down. Can he pick it off? The Warren does go down, but at what cost? He only killed 2 squirrels and lost so much, so I like this for Raton. Raton also, he's got his cam out, his other one paid for. I don't think that attack was really a good idea. You don't really want to attack with a small amount of Squizzard into Squirrel Warrens. But it's not over yet. Raton definitely has an edge for sure. His army is much bigger. But Snake did kill a Warren, and he's got cams coming as well. And with his lizards, Raton really has to respect the counterattack potential of lizards. Maybe not 6 of them specifically, but you know what I'm saying. There is no backdoor, unfortunately. Raton moving out here with a pretty beefy army. Now, he actually dropped another Cam Warren, which is not going to be ready anytime soon to mean anything. So that is effectively a waste of money for the current fight. If he can keep his army alive, eventually it's going to get more power. I like this concave of squirrels here, putting damage on that Warren. Snake getting some counter damage, and then the lizards coming in for the flank. That was a really clutch flank. Actually, really good play from Snake. He was patient. He waited for the right time with the lizard flank and the squirrels getting that counter damage as Raton was retreating. And again, you see that extra Cam Warren is doing absolutely nothing for Raton. Here, I don't think he's going to even be able to afford it, at least in time to mean much. Snake putting down a forward position here with a bunch of mines. And Raton does not... I think he knows there's mines there, but he doesn't know where. Yeah, he's checking. But Snake here... selling the first mine because I think he knows Raton is suspecting it, but he has a lead enough to safely take this base now. And Raton basically gets 1 more timing push. That's what he's doing the moles for, before Snake really transitions this into a 2 base versus 1 base play. Raton doing his diligence and making sure there's no ninjas around. And yeah, Snake also teching up here into that second Cam Warren. With these mines forward like this, I really think Snake has got this, guys. He's also setting up his lizards for another flank. Okay, backing them down. Raton has the high ground here, so Snake has to back up just a little bit. Put down a couple of more mines in case these get picked off. The moles are going to tank a couple, and the fight happens here. The moles tanking pretty well on these mines. The mines not getting quite enough value, but the moles are cleared. Okay, it looks like Raton is just barely pulling ahead here. Snake pulling back behind that one last mine, and now he has a couple of seconds to tank with his mill before he can push back with his extra cam here. Raton backing off. I think he might have been able to kill the mill, but a little bit risky here. Snake has yet to put a farm down. So both sides, just 2 cam warrens and a bunch of squirrels. The name of the game here is that Snake has 5 squirrel warrens, whereas Raton only has 2. And Snake also has this base. Oh, you know what? I don't think Snake can actually afford all 5 squirrel warrens. He's actually missing a cam. Oh my goodness, he's sending his cam over to here so that when Raton buys a base, it's going to get sniped. This is actually a really nice move, preempting what he knows Raton has to try this. So that's a nice 60 food for him. He also sold his extra squirrel warren, grabbed a farm. So it is exactly even army. But Snake has that extra farm. And the initial farms are fallowing out in like 1 second. That last one's going to go. So it's 1 farm against 0. Raton is starving, and Snake has a cam flank coming up. And the fight comes in. The cam's with the flank here. And it looks like Raton is going to try to target this farm down, which is a pretty good move. But if we have a full trade here, what? Oh, no, okay. Raton actually has 3 cams left. And he's going to snipe this base. Now it's just a race to sell enough to buy a base and get some farms on it. So Snake winning the race so far. He's got plenty of time. He's got a couple of squirrels. He's going to have to sell 1 more warren. Raton, 20 seconds. Okay, Raton loses. I'm going to pause here real quick to say you have to buy a mill before you get to the 20-second marker or guaranteed loss. It's not going to finish in time. Raton just unfortunate. I think he had an edge. After that fight, it's just his starve timer is just not quite going to work out here. Yep. What a way to go. Unfortunately, that was a really, really close game. Snake took an edge and almost lost it there at the end. GG's. So Snake goes on to the final match there against Ben Dove. Let's get into it. All right, Ben Dove here in the yellow in the bottom right. And Steam .173955636 in the red. I believe that is Snake. Let me get my colors switched up here. All right, so Ben here with his Badger timing deck with the ferrets. And Snake with a bit more of a standard Squizzard Cam Falcon with Wolf and Mine. So very meta, actually. The Wolf is the least meta part of it. But, you know, Wolf is also meta right now. So it's when I say Wolf is the least meta part, I don't mean anything bad about the Wolf. I just mean everything that Snake has is so meta and strong right now. And then you add a Wolf and it becomes extremely powerful. But Ben has a couple of tricks up his sleeve. Badger can be spicy if you're not ready for it. And Ferret also. If you get too greedy in the face of a Ferret, you're in trouble. And Ben has his fair share of meta comp for the early game. Squizzard Cam. Ben definitely going for that early base here. Snake with his slightly more aggressive style. It's so far standard. We got 8 farm double Warren, but it looks like he might try to put on some pressure. Whereas Ben is going to be able to hold. He actually gets his 3rd Warren down before Snake as well, which is kind of funny. Snake is pushing in here, but I really don't think he's going to be able to get much. Okay, so Snake drops a Cam Warren. A little bit of tech and some squirrels, which is definitely a reasonable response to being behind in getting your expansion. You want to get an expansion of your own, of course, but if you can use the tempo to grab a tech unit as well, that's a very good response. And he grabs a ninja way over here. It's kind of a ninja, but it's also, like, now that I'm looking at the map, that's actually technically a pocket expand. Okay, Snake running in here, trying to get some lizard damage, but is kind of pushed back. So yeah, this base is actually not accessible at all unless you go all the way right through this choke. So that's not a ninja. That's actually a very far away pocket expand that's also kind of hidden in ninja. So pretty nice for Snake. This map in general is a super interesting map. Both sides have a deep pocket base that kind of doubles as a ninja because it's hard to get back there and scout, as well as some relatively safe kind of forward expansions. Ben has this side expand that's super easy, and in exchange, Snake has these slightly forward bases, but if he can control this high ground, he actually ends up with 4 bases on his side and a campfire, whereas Ben only has 3. So I like Snake's position here, and he's going to move in while the commander is gone, scouting the ninja, and what is he going to target? Forces the cell on the farm and loses 3 lizards? That's actually plenty good for Ben. Ben was out scouting this, so he knows exactly what he's up against as far as eco, and he holds that, just sells the farm and kills a couple of lizards, and using that floating food from that long scouting run, he is going to drop the badger. And look at this, he's looking for a back door. It's so funny, he's not going to find it, but he is going to grab his own pocket expand. I'm kind of liking this map. Maybe a slightly modified version of it where Snake's base is right there. Let me talk about that in a moment when nothing spicy is happening. The badger was sold. We've just got Squizzard against Squizzard Cam. The lizard's coming in here, maybe picking off a Warren, but they're going to get cornered. Meanwhile, Snake is pushing from another angle, but Ben is too fast and just has a much better army, and he cleans up every lizard and every squirrel just about dies, and we only have the cams left, so this is very good for Ben. He's going to be able to push in, snipe these cams almost immediately, and just a little bit of a misstep from Snake is probably going to cost him the game here. Just so much damage. 21 squirrels and some pigeons just to help them continue this push. Squirrel Pigeon is not usually a comp that I like a whole lot because squirrels are not very tanky, but in a situation like this, this is like the one case where Squirrel Pigeon is good because you just have enough of an army lead that the pigeons keep some squirrels alive and get their value. So the only thing Snake has going for him is he has 6 farms on his back base, but he's losing all of these warrens, and that's going to be too much. Sells down a lot of them, and he's going to like really quickly try to place them here, but Ben knows what's up. He's going to push his advantage. There's nothing to fight him here, and it looks like Ben's going to take the first game. Anyway, I was saying I'd love to see if this starting base was here, and there's a base here, and then cut these two. It'd be a pretty even map. It'd be kind of an interesting custom map. But that's beside the point. Bendov taking game 1. I think Bendov has definitely got to be slightly favored here for sure, coming from the winner's match. Versus Snake. Who is coming from the loser's match. Excuse me, I lost my train of thought there for a second. All right, both sides looking like they're just kind of messing with each other here. Let's take a look. Ben actually running with toads this time. We haven't seen toads a whole lot this group, but Snake showing his lizard play, and Ben just wants to have the counter to it. Now he's going with a 4-farm double. Snake is going with the 4-farm double, and it's going to get scouted almost immediately. Let's see what Ben's response is going to be. He should be just fine here. There is a little bit of a back entrance, but he's got some high ground. He's got a little bit of a choke here, so I think he should be able to hold. Snake immediately sells down. Very greedy, though. Not buying that second Warren. He's going to go all the way up to 8-farm single Warren supply blocked. All right, I guess 7 Warren farm. Whatever. Extremely greedy. So Ben's going to be able to counter push here. Yeah, that's just a little bit too much. After a 4-farm double, you can almost never immediately go up to 8 farms. You kind of just have to rebuy. So Ben could pick off at least a pig, if not a Warren here. If only these were lizards from Ben. I think the game would already be over if these were lizards. Okay, he does not actually get the pig. Oh my goodness. Okay, he does get the pig. Wow. And picks off a couple of squirrels on his way out. That is insane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. 4 squirrels die for Ben, and a pig and 2 squirrels die for Snake. Okay, overall, I'm kind of liking this for Ben. He's got to be careful not to overextend here, but he does force a cell in that 8th farm again. Okay, with the cell, with the forced cell there, I'm definitely liking Ben's position just a little bit more here. I'm amazed that Snake got away with that amount of greed, but I guess considering the amount of slow terrain, no roads here. Ben with his little edge actually throwing down a skunk warren, which I like here a lot, especially hidden, so Snake might not see it right away. Snake has Squizzard though, so skunks are not like super insanely powerful. But it depends on how they're used here. Snake kind of hiding some of his tier 1 warrens to mask how aggressive he's being, and you know what? Ben doesn't see it, so let's see. Squirrel, Toad, Skunk versus Squizzard. With the addition of the Toads, Ben has got such a killer comp. Neither side going for the expansion yet. Ben has actually a pretty nice timing lined up here. He's about to get his 2nd skunk. He drops another squirrel warren. Now, I do want to say that best practice, if you're trying to, you know, Ben has his reasons. He's a better player than I, but if you're a beginner and you want to figure out how to do a timing like this, instead of grabbing that last warren, unless you're really planning on pushing hard, which I think Ben is, grab a base instead so you have some eco to go back on. Now, Snake trying to go for a bit of a base trade here. He actually just barely dodges a squirrel-toad combo, but only 6 lizards is not enough to kill a base, so he's just going to kill a couple of squirrels and get back, or pigs and get back. Meanwhile, Ben is just laying siege here, keeping a couple of toads alive, killing, looks like 3 pigs. So already Ben is taking a really strong lead in this engagement. The skunks are going to be able to tank, another toad connection. Even not the best toad connections, but it doesn't matter because he's killed 3 pigs, whereas Snake only killed 2, and Ben has the 2 skunks. Having said that, Snake does have a cam, but he is supply blocked as well, so it's going to be hard. If that cam... Okay, the cam goes down. All right, I think Ben's got this. Yep. And Snake taps. Some pretty good play from Snake, pretty fancy stuff, but Ben plays calm, plays standard, and is able to push ahead. On match point, Ben Dove from the winner's match here in the yellow in the right. And Snake beating Raton just barely in the loser's match there, but he's got some pretty spicy plays as well, with the moles this time in the north. Now, I mentioned the moles because that's one of the things Snake has, as I said, been pretty good at. Ben also with some moles here, so if we can see a solid squirrel mole push out of Snake or some, maybe some big mulchies, sniping warren, something crazy, he should easily be able to pull ahead with something like that if he can pull it off. And maybe start a comeback. But Ben Dove definitely feeling comfortable. He's got 2 or 3 games buffer and the mental lead there. So looks like Snake is going to try to get that kind of tempo lead here by sniping a pig, forcing a cell. It's pretty standard, nothing too crazy. Okay, so actually forcing a cell on 2 pigs, even better. If it was just the one, I would say Ben is fine, but having to sell both, I like it for Snake. Now, he's actually not buying that last farm. Is that a mistake? He might be trying to get super aggressive right now with just a 7 farm play, especially against an expansion play like this. I don't know, but then he sells the mole warren. He's going from this funny angle. We might be seeing a little bit of the issue we saw from Raton earlier, where if you buy and sell too much, like changing your plan back and forth. I think if he had just stuck with the original... Okay, that mole actually gets sniped here, but Snake moving in, he might get a pig. commander goes down. The pig does also go down, but with the commander going down, I think Ben is fine. So, yeah, I think when you kind of change your game plan too much, you try to be a little bit too fancy, it can really allow a stable player to definitely pull ahead. I mean, look at all this value he's getting. Oh my goodness. Sniping that mole warren, I don't really know if that was a good idea to begin with. Also, unfortunate, probably a mistake from Snake. He does finally catch that 8th farm, and he's going to farm up here. Game's not over, but Ben is ahead on tempo. He's got 4 warrens to 2. He's easily going to be able to match Snake's farms, or just go for a squirrel mole push and end it right here. So again, similar to last game in a way, Ben playing very stable and standard, not being too thrown off, whereas Snake trying some fancy stuff, but it's not really working. Selling the forward warren there, getting some moles. He's really trying to hold this push that he knows is incoming. If he can hold it, he is actually ahead on farms at this point. 8 farms on his main base and 2 on his expansion versus 7 and 1. But this looks like a pretty nasty push. The mole's coming in here, getting on top of pigs and squirrels alike. And I think Ben just has too much. Okay, the mole warren goes down, but that's about it. So Ben actually pulls back with a lot of his injured squirrels. He killed a couple of pigs, but the pullback was a feint. He was baiting. He was baiting Snake to attack, and he actually kills a couple of squirrels in exchange. If we look at the warren count here, 4 warrens of squirrels for each player, plus this 5th, but the Ben also has some healthy moles. He's going to push at an angle here. The only thing Snake has going for him is a couple of extra farms, but right now, Ben is crushing in this army. He might be able to just snipe this mill. And that's going to be game, because Snake doesn't really have another game plan beyond that mill, and he taps. Ben Dove moving on 2nd place in the group with a 3-0. GG's. Thanks for watching.